Welcome to an illustrious episode of Kennedy Saves the World. And today I'm going to save your fashion. There is nothing more enviable than the idea of becoming one with the ocean. But what happens when the ocean meshes with fashion and blows up into a global brand that just might change your life? My guest today is an incredible designer. She's from Carpinteria, California. She grew up surfing. She grew up in the ocean. She grew up steeped in creativity and has forged her own fashion brand, which now designers, magazines, they are inspired by. You see her ideas thieved, stolen every day in the pages of beautiful, glossy magazines. And it is one of my very favorite fashion brands of all time because there are two things that I love: surfing and being saved from my own very disturbed fashion sense. And luckily, there's a woman in California named Heidi Merrick who can combine those two loves into clothes that set my heart on fire. Heidi Merrick, welcome to Kennedy Saves the World.
Oh, Kennedy, that's the best introduction I've ever had. I cannot thank you enough.
Well, your clothes are so great. So you've got a look that is uniquely California. And I say that because it's really hard to look great in California because it's the only place where you go from incredibly informal settings to very formal settings with very fancy people in short order. And you have to be able to change your look with a few accessories with some beautiful pieces, whether it's dresses, jumpsuits, blazers. You have to be able to do that. And your line is one of the few lines where no matter what you put on, you can adjust it slightly to completely transform your look. How do you do that?
Oh my gosh, that's so kind. Well, you know what? I think about it all the time about when I go to the beach, that I go to the beach with love and respect. To give it sort of the weight and the value that I give it, I dress for it. So I think that's the first switch, is that when I go to the beach, you know, I'm still dressed beautifully because it's practically my church, you know? And then when you're going somewhere else, you just have to make sure your feet are clean.
That's true, because anything can happen when you're at the beach. Anything can happen. So when you go to the beach, you can run into someone, or you can get a text as you're changing and getting into your car and getting into a strapless Heidi Merrick dress, which, you know, is so flowy and comfortable. You can wear it in the car. I've got a beautiful linen halter dress that you can throw over a bikini, but then if you get a text like, "Oh my gosh, I'm here at Spago with Al Pacino. Where are you?"
Well, literally, you have some of my best vintage, so that doesn't surprise me at all. I do think that there's an idea of what you wear on the beach. You don't want to look ridiculous, and what you wear in the land, you don't want to look ridiculous. And sometimes I think, would I wear this to the beach when it's an evening gown? And that's what gives it sort of the flow.
And that's really important.
That make sense?
Yes, because that's really, really important, because you can't be constrained by your clothes if you're going to be getting wet, if you're going to be interfacing with nature. So how would you describe your pieces for people who have never seen them? How would you describe your style for someone who's intrigued by dressing like they know how to surf, but who also wants to be invited to a really fancy party in Malibu?
One thing I say is that my silhouette is sort of more covered than your average maybe California line. And I also do a very nipped waist where I like to belt things and have like my tailoring in my pants so that you can really see a woman's figure. The other thing I do is try to make things fit so that you don't feel uncomfortable and stupid in your outfit. You want to feel relaxed and like yourself. You want to be able to move, but you don't want to be sloppy. So
no, but we've all done that. We've all made the mistake of going somewhere, a formal event, and we have this idea that if we're going to something where, you know, we have to, whatever it is, in your head, dress up. You wear something that's so constricting that you're self-conscious the entire time. And I've never found that about your clothes. So you grew up surfing. Your dad is a very famous surfboard shaper. You grew up around pro surfers. I know when you were young, you were such a phenomenal surfer that you considered going pro yourself. When did you make the shift from being an athlete to being a creative force, even before you got into fashion?
Okay, before, just let me clarify that I did never consider being a pro surfer.
In my mind, you did. In my narrative, you did.
You know what? And you say it all the time. And I really appreciate that. And I feel the love.
Heidi is such a good surfer. She could go pro now. Seriously, that's how good she is.
Thank you. Weekend surfer. That's what I call myself. Okay, now I can't remember the question. What did you ask me?
So how did you go from, where you were surrounded by surfing, your mom is running the surf shop, your dad is shaping surfboards, you have Kelly Slater and Rob Machado coming in and out of the house all the time. So how do you go from that culture to creating your own creatively in fashion?
Well, I think, if you understand motherhood and being in a family at all, that like you do what you see your parents doing. And it wasn't just the boys going in and out of our house. It was me being at the surf shop with my mom. And in the beginning, she made the clothes and my dad made the surfboards. And then in the end, she bought the clothes and curated the store. So I did that with her since I was 8 years old. I've been in buying appointments, always sort of made my living via clothes. So the transition to become a fashion designer became natural when I realized I wasn't really good at anything else. I'm just kidding.
That's not true.
Hello?
You are one of the most deeply creative people that I've ever met. You just happen to land in a lane where you have flourished, and it's also an area where people need a lot of help. And it's interesting because when you're younger, you buy a lot of stuff. You buy as much as you can afford, and sometimes the stuff you buy, like it doesn't have long lasting. It's not something that you can utilize over the decades in your wardrobe. So a lot of it is disposable, and it's really hard developing your own style. And then as you get older, you realize like I don't want a bunch of stuff. I want really nice stuff. So where does your line fall into that spectrum?
Well, that's interesting because one thing I always try to say to women is like, what do you have in your closet that you're saving for something that you're thinking about wearing another time? That is exactly what you should put on. And any day that you're sort of questioning who you are or wondering how you feel or unsure about where you're going, you should put on the piece in your closet that you're sort of saving, that is so special to you. And once you wear that piece, you should say, this is how I should look. This is how I should feel. And that's how you up level. Next time you go shopping, you say, is this as beautiful as that piece? And I just want to say to women that I know we all have something that we're not feeling good enough to put on, but we should put that on and then we should be that person. So I think that in my collection, I've always sort of expressed the surfer girl growing up, and with my girlfriends, especially here in Carpinteria and the Santa Barbara area, I think that I help them sort of be their most beautiful selves and feel the confidence to say, I'm not just picking up my kids. I'm not just, washing dogs or whatever. I'm actually valued, important, beautiful, and I respect myself. And that's what I try to put into the collection. Clothes that women will wear that will make them be their best selves.
I put on a black dress, a full-length black dress that I got from you because I had an important meeting at work. And normally when I come to work, I wear leggings and sweatshirts and beanies and clogs. And people ask me if I'm okay a lot, and that's fine. I appreciate their concern. And so I wore one of your dresses because it's a really lightweight, beautiful cotton. The dress is beautifully designed, but it's also I don't feel like I'm wearing a corset. And I came out and my older daughter goes, "Oh my gosh, you look like a model." And, of course, she's a very dramatic person, but there was something about the dress that was transformative. And you're absolutely right. And I feel that way about, when you get something nice for your home, whether it's like crystal or china, like you always put it away. Like I've got my grandmother's silver in a box, and I should bust that out. And it's the same thing with well-made clothes. that make you feel beautiful. Why should you wait to feel beautiful? And you're absolutely right that is intrinsically tied to self-worth.
It is. It's amazing. And I think women know that in their soul of souls, that when they put something on, or when they do their makeup, or when they put that heel on, that they're saying that they believe in themselves. And that's exactly what a woman.
For the full podcast, go to foxnewspodcast.com.